can you believe Tamatha Paul's comments? It is astonishing, isn't it, that the Greens would and where's the Green leadership on this one? Well, they're too busy worried about profit. They don't even understand what profit is. Mark Mitchell is the Police Minister, joins us now. Mark, g'day. Nice to have you on the program. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, good morning, Duncan. Thanks for having me on, mate.
So, Tamatha Paul, I mean, this is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is it's most people probably don't take her seriously, but the reality is she's a member of Parliament in a party that could be forming a government next year. And although Chris Hipkins and Labour are backpedaling and trying to distance themselves from her comments flat out, when you look at their voting record this term, they are fully aligned. They voted against tougher sentences. They voted against the gang ledge. They voted against the strengthening the firearms prohibition orders. And you know, these guys are fully aligned in terms of how they're voting.
Which New Zealander thinks like this, that as soon as you see a police officer on the beat, it frightens you, it scares you? Maybe if you're a prisoner on the run, yep, it's fair. Maybe if you're a crook,
yeah, exactly.
Yep, probably. Yeah, but apart from that, so apart from that small cohort, because most New Zealanders are good people, we want cops on the beat, don't we? Isn't that what you were told during the last election campaign?
Well, the overwhelming response that I've had from members of the public is that they're really enjoying seeing our police officers highly visible back out on the beat. And the feedback that I get from our police officers, the young ones there out on the beat, is they're loving it as well. They're loving that positive interaction with the public. Often their job is quite negative, and they say that it's nice to have the public come up to them and give them positive reinforcement about seeing them out there doing their job. They're building relationships with the shopkeepers in the retail sector. And they're just doing an outstanding job. So they're completely. What the Green Party are doing is probably talking to 2 or 3% of their own base. But you know, the thing that gets me is this, Duncan, is that you've heard them come out with all sorts of weird and wonderful comments over the last sort of 6 to 12 months. One of them being that they feel safer with a patched gang member than they do with a police officer. I can guarantee you right now that if one of those Green MPs was in a CBD and they were threatened or they were in danger of being attacked, the first people they're going to be calling for help for is the police.
Yeah, I mean, that was a stupid. I mean, I covered that. And made hay while the sun was shining on that one, because it was I thought it wouldn't get any dumber than that. To be honest, there'll be the odd gang. There'll be the odd gang member that you run into that may not be an issue. But if a gang member, it's just ridiculous to say the gang member is more trustworthy than a police officer. I mean, that's ridiculous. But then it got worse. Tamatha Paul opened her mouth.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, it is laughable, but like I said to you, it is serious, because this is actually a party in Parliament, and they're talking about defunding the police. I mean, we came into government with a horrible mess around public safety, a reduction of 20% of the prison muster at the same time, a 35% increase in violent crime. We still have a lot more work to do, but we are starting to track in the right direction. But to have a party in Parliament come out with comments like that, people are going to judge it for themselves.
People often say to me, "Oh, the New Zealand police officers are too nice. You know, they're too gentle. You know, you see police officers overseas get a lot more brutal and tough on some of these people." And I've had a number of calls and texts this morning, Mark. People saying to me, "Oh, well, it's great having the cops on the beat, but I wish they'd do something rather than just be on the beat. You know, I want to see them close people down, shut people down, and they seem to be letting people go." What's your and I've got an example of this, but what's your response to that?
Well, my response to that would be, in the last 12 months, we've had an increase to the prison muster of over 1,000 people. So make no mistake, they're out there doing their job. We haven't seen headlines every week about gangs taking over towns and public roads and abusing and intimidating members of the public. They're getting policed properly. Yes, our police put a lot of time and effort into making sure that they're part of our community. There's an old saying that police are public and police. These are mums and dads and grandparents and brothers and sisters. They live in our communities. They wanted police in a way that the community feels comfortable with. But make no mistake, they've got very deep capability, and they're out there and they're really suppressing the gangs and getting on top of the issues.
They're reasonable, though, aren't they? I mean, they're decent when you are dealing with them. I'm not saying they give you the benefit of the doubt, but they're reasonable when you look at other police forces around the world. I'm not sure you actually want to go there, but you know what I mean?
No, without a doubt. I totally agree with you. I think we have got a genuine world-class police force, one of the best in the world, if not the best. And I've I've worked with a lot of law enforcement agencies around the world, and I'm extremely proud of our police, and we should be proud of them as a nation. They have an extremely difficult job. They were doing their job with one hand tied behind their back. In fact, probably two hands tied behind their back for about 5 or 6 years. That's changed now. They've been given new powers. They're out there and they're protecting the communities that they serve. That's why they joined the police, and in my view, they're doing an outstanding job.
The other night, it was probably about 11 o'clock at night, I turned up at a forecourt of the Caltex at Western Springs, and I saw a police officer there in her car. She was on her own, police officer on her own in a car.
Yep.
And the window slightly open. She was negotiating, talking to a clearly a homeless nutter, because he wasn't in a good way, with a bit of 2x4 above his head. He was holding a bit of 2x4 above his head, and so it looked a bit dangerous. And I watched from my car before I hopped out to go and pay for the gas. So I realised that she had this under control, so I went across, paid for my gas, came back to my car, and I realised as I drove back to my car, she was leaving. She dealt with them and she was leaving. He started walking towards the road and away from me. With his bit of wood, though. He still had his bit of wood. And I started filling up the truck with some diesel, and I was just a bit uneasy about it. I thought, well, I wonder where he's gone. And then suddenly he appeared in front of me at my front door of the car, staring at me, give me a smoke.
Right.
I don't smoke, pal.
Right.
F off. And so he was right there, and I managed to negotiate him to move away from me, and I hopped in the car, almost ran him over, drove off. Now, why didn't you at least take the bit of wood off him? We'll call for backup or something,
Well, no, Duncan, knowing you well, mate, I probably know what your negotiation was like. It would have been less than
rougher than that.
Terms.
It was.
Look, I can't. Obviously, I can't talk to that individual case. But look, the reality of it is, I was on the phone 3 or 4 weeks ago to 2 young police women in Hawke's Bay who had been attacked by an offender with a machete, and probably the only thing that saved one of them being seriously injured, if not killed, is that he tripped up, and it sort of returned the tactical advantage to them. I'm ringing police officers and corrections officers on a fairly regular basis that have been assaulted on the job. The reality is that society has changed a bit, is that the boundaries have changed. That police officers are having to deal with people with mental health issues. We're trying to make sure that actually there's a proper health response for that. Now, I can't talk to that exact incident that you were talking about there. It's possible that she sort of moved to another area, still had observations on him, and was waiting for backup or someone to help assist her with someone with a mental health issue carrying a piece of wood. But I've got just massive confidence in our police force. I get a police weekly update every week, and I get to see the outstanding work that they do and the stuff that's never recognised. And often when police awards are handed out, they've been handed out for people saving lives.
Yeah, and look, I know in the media we focus on the negative stuff, and really, do we do good news? I mean, where's the good news factor? So, but I'm just saying, I wonder if she had backup and if she had support in the car. If there were 2 of them, maybe you would have jumped out and got the bit of wood off him. But maybe she deemed it a risk, one-on-one with this nutter with a bit of wood. But, I just feel a bit exposed, not for long, but it was happening in front of me.
Yeah, well, Well, I mean, we've had some big challenges for example, the Auckland CBDs, in fact, Wellington CBD as well, and we've come a long way in a short period of time, and that's been through. The police can't solve all these problems on their own. I pulled together a stakeholders group with residents and ratepayers groups, business associations, social service providers, government agencies, and police for the Auckland CBD. It's been very successful because everyone's working together and everyone understands that police can't solve all these social issues on their own.
What do you think the toughest crims? I've run into a number of them over the years and dealt with them because in prison all they do is do weights, talk crap, and watch and listen to media and that sort of thing. So they know who you are, and they the ones that I've run into they laugh at the diversity stuff because they say, oh well, it's only a chick, or it's look at these 2 skinny Indian cops or whatever, and this is what they say. And so I wonder, is there an issue around them targeting the female officers or the smaller officers, or is there any problem there?